You know, niggas gotta get their priorities together. Got their mind on the wrong things, spending their money in the wrong way.
Trapaholics, real trap shit.
Say you need that car with the rims and a trunk, just like Jim. It's more than life. Yeah.
I'm telling you. Talk to him.
Say you need that LV bag with the belt and the hat.
That's all you got though.
It's more than life. Yeah.
Talk to him. Real.
Say you wanna turn up at the club, light some bottles, impress them girls. It's more than life.
Fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Good evening, everyone, and who dat? And this evening, I have a lot of stuff I want to get to, and hopefully I can get it all to kind of come together. And I want to get right to that. So can I get a menu? And the first thing I want to get to is, I guess, kind of the simple thing. It's not really anything big, but like I said, I kind of want to get these things. They'll all kind of just come together, and hopefully they'll kind of make sense in the way I'm going to talk about them, and maybe they'll make a little more sense in the way I'm going to formulate them and talk about them, and maybe they'll hit home, and maybe they'll make you happier, or maybe after I talk about them, maybe they'll make you a little more upset. But let me get right into that, and can I get a menu? And let's get right to it. So Quan Baker, he got a 6-game suspension for PEDs, PEDs, like some people like to call them. So with that was kind of a surprise for a second-year player, I guess, because you're kind of surprised that a second-year player is already using performance-enhancing drugs, steroids, or whatever it is, I guess, to help you get an edge. I guess maybe it's not that surprising that a second-year player trying to make a team would be looking for an edge, I guess. But it's a hard position for him to be making a team on the Saints team that's so loaded at wide receiver. And even if he had a chance to make this team, it would probably be at returner more than anything. But now that he's missing 6 games due to the PEDs, I would say it's going to be really hard for him to make the team now, if he's even going to be on it at all. If he's going to be suspended for 6 games, he may just get cut now, or I don't know if they're going to keep him around for practice squad or how that's going to work. So that's just interesting. And with that, I'm confused with if that changed during the collective bargaining agreement or not. But I always thought for your first offense with PEDs or a controlled substance, I always thought it was just 4 games. I don't know when they changed that, because I remember hearing during the DeAndre Hopkins suspension that he originally got 4 games, and then it was something like he tampered with his substance or he tried to hide it. That's why he got 6 games. Why his suspension got bumped up to more than just 4. So I'm confused as to why Quan Baker got 6 games right off the bat on his first offense. So I'm confused as to why he got 6 games right off the bat off his first offense, because I thought it always went like your first offense for substance abuse or PEDs. I thought it always went 4 games, 6 games, 8 games, and then like a full season. But I don't know. Maybe the last collective bargaining agreement, they changed something there. But I want to tie this into then the Deshaun Watson thing, of how crazy it is that Quan Baker kind of is already just getting like, for his PEDs, he's getting what looked to be like almost the same amount of games as Deshaun Watson, is 6 games for the amount of stuff that Deshaun Watson is, which I'm not going to get into dive too deep into all the stuff he's doing, because this is not a Cleveland Browns podcast, so I don't really care too much to talk about what he did And I think by the time I post this, everyone's gonna already hear about how it looks like the NFL is appealing what he did, but it just so it's kind of comparing apples to oranges of what he did and what Quan Baker didn't do, but it's just kind of surprising. But as Saints fans, we already know that the Saints are not treated equal. Uh, we are not one and the same, so we kind of already know this. But I'm just kind of tying these together when suspensions that they don't make sense. They never come together. There's no set ground rules or ground laws. Just like I was stating with, I always thought with these PEDs and pub and legal substances, it was 4 games, and now just all of a sudden it's 6 games. But then I want to get to Alvin Kamara suspensions. So we're talking suspensions. And now I want to get to Alvin Kamara's. So a couple days ago, I guess he was. This is weird because I wish normal people could just not show up for their court date. So I guess about 3 days ago, 4 days ago, he had his court date, but instead of going to his court date, he was at training camp instead. So I guess that was good that he was at his training camp instead. And so because he was at training camp instead of actually his court date, so now his court date is let's see, his court date instead is in September. It is September 29th now instead is when they're rescheduling it. So that should mean that there will not be any ruling on when his suspension is. So he will at least be there for week 1, week 2 at least, and the ruling for when he is suspended will probably be dragged on into the season, and hopefully, and in my opinion, I think that's good. And honestly, you hear some people talk about, oh, they just want to get it over with, and they hope it doesn't happen in the middle of the season, or they would just want it to happen like right now. And really, here's my opinion on that. I really hope that it gets dragged out throughout the full season, playoffs, and everything. And I hope he doesn't have to serve any of those games until next season. And the reason for that is because this is Alvin Kamara's age 27 season. And I know that doesn't seem that old in normal person's age, but in running back years, it is old. So I would like for him to not be suspended for any of his age 27 running back years, because honestly, this could be, I know it sounds ridiculous, but this could be his last elite year as a professional player, professional running back, because I know it sounds weird, but honestly, he didn't have a great year in terms of yards per carry. And I know you could relate that to the offensive line not being great and things like that, but he only had like what 3.7 yards per carry, and I mean you could honestly say that his best season was as a rookie, and then and the older you get, it's a short shelf life as a running back. So, and this is a season where the Saints still have a lot of talent, and I think it would just benefit the Saints that if Alvin Kamara misses no games in his age 27 season, and just have him miss games in his age 28 season, because you're not guaranteed anything as a running back when at any other position the sharpest decline comes as a running back, and there's many running backs that just fall off the cliff year to year. So if he's going to miss any games or not miss any games, I'm perfectly fine with that, with his whole court cases and court dates and the suspensions being dragged out and him not missing any games this year. And that's my opinion on that. So there's the whole suspensions and how all that ties in together. So then I know this, I'm kind of taking a while to get to the whole injuries. We've had some injuries and don't really talk. Been a minute to get to Taysom Hill injury. That happened. It seems like that's happened forever now, but it's been a while since I've got on here and talked about Saints related talk and the main course, you could say. It seems like I think it's been at least a week now, but I want to get to Taysom Hill. So Taysom Hill over the hill, man, he seemed to have had some bad luck here now. So what was it last year? He had the concussion against Washington, and then he hurt his finger, got the mallet finger, and then he had the Les Frank injury in his foot, and then he completely tore it in the Week 17 game against Atlanta. And then the first couple of days of training camp wasn't even padded practice. He injures his ribs, like, man. And Taysom Hill, he's for a player that really hasn't been in the league for that long. He was an older player when he came in the league. He's been kind of injury prone lately. He'll be 32 by the time the season starts. He was 27 when he entered the league, and not even padded practice. He already has an injury, injured ribs. Will he actually be able to play tight end full time at tight end? So that's kind of interesting. That's a little concerning that he's already hurt again. But that kind of ties in with now Smoke Monday, which that's devastating to hear. That just what was that? That was just yesterday. That was just what is today? That was just Wednesday. It looks like he has a serious knee injury. It looks like he's probably done for the year before his season's even gotten started. But I want to tie all these injuries in to looks like CJ Gardner-Johnson is doing a hold in. And so that makes a little more sense as to why he wasn't there for voluntary OTAs. And all this, and this makes a little bit of sense because he's in his fourth year. He's arguably one of the Saints' better players. He's arguably one of the best nickel corners, slot corners in the league. I mean, he's earned his money. He deserves his money. I can't deny that. He's a very vocal leader on a team. He's an energy guy. He's a juice guy. He's savvy. He's a guy that he's a leader on the team. There's no denying that. But I guess like you've been following this podcast enough. I leave my fandom at the door. I am not a player fan. I'm not a fan of players. I'm a Saints fan. I'm not a fan of players necessarily. And there's a reason they drafted Alontae Taylor, and it's for this reason right here, because of they knew that CJ Gardner-Johnson may do something like this, and they don't have to pay CJ Gardner-Johnson early or anything like that. They can wait to pay him whenever they want. He doesn't control this situation, and this all rounds about to how well Adobe Paulson Adebo has been playing, because he's been a star in camp lately, and he's just been blanketing receivers. He's been given receivers like Chris Olave fits, blanketing receivers like that, having breakups against players like that. And when Alontae Taylor was drafted in the second round, some people were already anointing Alontae Taylor as the number 2 corner, even after the great season that Paulson Adebo had. And when I seen that from some media people and some fans, I was just like, that really confused me as to why people were already anointing a guy that just got drafted over 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 Paulson Adebo, who just started 17 games as the number 2 corner, who picked off guys like Aaron Rodgers in the season and had a one-handed interception in week 17 against Atlanta. And you're telling me that a rookie is going to come in and dethrone him right out the gate? And I don't think that's what Alontae Taylor was drafted for. What he was drafted for was for this scenario right here. It was for CJ Gardner Johnson's hold in. And a lot of people that I've seen on social media are surprised that CJ Gardner Johnson would do this or would be in this scenario. Nah, this doesn't surprise me at all. This is the kind of guy that CJ Gardner Johnson is. He's basically like a wide receiver version of a diva, but he plays on defense. He's a defensive like diva, like he's like a Odell Beckham Jr., but plays on defense. Not that that's a bad thing, but you know he's a vocal guy, but just plays on defense. So of course he's going to want to get his money. Oh, and this also ties back to the injuries. You know, he sees Smoke Monday go down on Wednesday, so of course he's going to be reluctant to be all in on training camp when he only has 1 year left on his deal. So I can understand why he wants to get paid, but of course I don't see the Saints being in any rush to pay him when they have a second round pick and a very talented player like Alontae Taylor in position to come right in and fill his spot when he's ready. So yeah, I think it'll be very curious to see how it plays out and whether the Saints do pay him or not, and how much they think or how much he thinks he's worth, because I don't think he's worth Marshawn Lattimore type money, and I definitely don't think they're going to pay him Marshawn Lattimore money. I don't think they'll even pay him Marcus Williams type money, like $15 million a year. Like if that's the kind of money that he thinks he's going to get, I think they'll definitely let him walk, or they'll trade him before they let that happen. But other than that, I think that's all I got for you when it comes to the Saints talk for now. But every day there's something coming out, and that was some interesting news coming down the pike. I'm sure there'll be more soon to come. And with that, can I get a check, please?